Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in wager bucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.
Good morning, guys. Welcome back right here to Wager Talk TV. I'm your host, Andrew McInnis, joined by Carmine Bianco and Mr. Dave Cokin. Some good games on the tap for tonight, guys, but without further ado, I'll bring in my co-host and partner in crime, Carmine. How was the weekend, man?
Weekend was busy on a lot of different aspects and stuff. But yesterday I watched hardly any TV or sports at all, and usually Sunday's my big day. But it was my father-in-law's 80th birthday yesterday, and my niece was over, my brother-in-law was over, so it was a family day yesterday more than anything else. But and then I caught a bit at the tail end of the Leafs loss last night. I'm pretty sure that was a parlay buster for a lot of teams, for a lot of players last night, because they sort of just put auto entered the Leafs on those parlays, figuring Vancouver hadn't played in like an eternity. So that didn't turn out well for them. It's now 4 losses on the hop for those Leafs. But looking forward to this week. A lot of really good games and some good matchups today, Andrew.
Yeah, Dave, the playoffs are on their way, man. It's getting closer and closer here every single day. Looking forward to some of these matchups. How was your weekend, Dave?
Oh, everything's good. Just killing baseball so far. 18-6 plus 41 units or so. The NHL's like plus 54 units for the season. So everything is really good right now, and we'll see if we can keep it that way.
No complaints. That sounds good to me, and I'm not surprised, Dave. I know you've been crushing the MLB and getting things done, and a lot of people on Twitter, online, are very, very happy. So good to see the clients are super excited. Carm, we're going to start with you, man, with our first game of the day, Carolina and Tampa Bay. I guess I'll say our games after that are going to be Chicago and Nashville, Minnesota, Arizona, Columbus and Florida, and the Montreal Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers. But our first game, Carm, is going to be the Hurricanes and the Tampa Bay Lightning, and it's all you.
It's all me. So, listen, this should be the marquee matchup of the night, I would think, unless, Andrew, I know for you the marquee matchup is probably Montreal and Edmonton, and we're going to get to that one shortly. But this one, listen, this is a good one. Tampa Bay returned off that road trip, got a big win against their Florida rivals, and then subsequently lost the next time out, and a lot of goals in that one. We thought there might be goals in that first game back. The goals came in that second game back. The way I'm looking at this, Andrew, is I'm looking at I'm going to lean under in this game. I don't want to take a side. This Carolina team is playing well. And I talked about prior to those games that Carolina played against Nashville, I thought it was probably a good spot to take Carolina in both games against Nashville, even though Nashville was coming in on a 13-3 run, because Carolina, after that second loss to Detroit, some of the players, it was like a closed players' door meeting. And whenever those things happen, it doesn't really make the media, but it has an effect on the team. And they came back with 2 very big wins over Nashville, 4-1 and 3-1. They now hit the road to face a team that they're going to have to beat in the playoffs, this Tampa Bay team. Thus far, these teams are 3-3 through 6 games that they've met each other, but Tampa 2-0 at home, both low-scoring games, 3-1 and 3-0, and I'm looking to the under in this game. Tampa, from the aspect of just whether Tampa will win or not, off of 4 losses at home this year, they've won their next home game. So they've never lost back-to-back home games yet this season. Carolina 7-3 to their unders, their last 10 games. I just think that this is one of those games where you have 2 very good teams that aren't going to light it up, and they're just going to play one of those really good low-scoring defensive games.
Carmine likes the under, and I'm actually right there in the same boat as you, Carm. I think that this season has been like no other. The handicapping in this season, as far as totals go, I think has been completely different. We have seen unders galore every single week, and I believe it's the matchups that have something to do with it, but also seeing the same team so many times, seeing the same team several times in a row. The last 3 times these teams have played, we've seen Carolina average just 1.6 goals per game, power play percentage 10%. Tampa Bay only close to 3.3 goals per game. So these teams aren't scoring in bunches, Dave, when they go head to head against each other. And Carmine mentioned it should have been our marquee matchup. Well, the next game, there's some more playoff implications. That's why I saved that next game for our marquee matchup. For this game, I'm looking at the under as well, and a slight lean actually to the Tampa Bay Lightning as well as Carm.
Well, I'll get away from the numbers and just talk about Tampa, because this team is just not playing well right now. I don't know what the problem is. I don't think John Cooper knows what the problem is. And if he doesn't know, then I'm sure not going to know, because John Cooper knows more about hockey than I do. But their offense is it's non-existent, basically. You look at the game they won 2 games back. They won in overtime against Florida. They were completely outplayed in that game. I watched the whole game, and Vasilevsky kept them in the game, which welcome to something new. I mean, he's just phenomenal. But they were completely outplayed at every aspect of the game. They did manage to come back and lose the rematch, as they actually were more competitive, but they lost the game. They're not a team I want to be on right now. I don't. This could end at any time because there's so much talent out there, but they're just not doing anything offensively. You go back to game number 31 on March 21st. They scored 5 against the Panthers. Since then, they 2-3-3, 1-3-2-1-2, 6 at Columbus, 3-2-3-3. I can't argue against your under, because you're going to have Vasilevsky in goal, and he generally just finds a way to keep the opposition off the board because he's amazing. The Tampa Bay offense isn't going to do much based on what they've been doing lately. And it probably has a playoff-type atmosphere as these teams figure to run into each other at some point in the playoffs, since they're in the same division. So I guess I'll go along with the under and make it a consensus.
Consensus play on the show here with the under in this game. And yeah, Dave, just to elaborate or to expand on what you said and give out another opinion from me here, I think last year that the defensive capabilities of the Tampa Bay Lightning was one of the big reasons why they went so far last year. Because over this, 2-3 years before that, we knew they could score. We knew they had talent to score. But the way they're giving up goals and the way they're taking care of things on their own end, I think personally, is the biggest problem. Not even as much their scoring. The way they're giving up 4 or 5 goals to a Detroit Red Wings team or a Columbus Blue Jackets team, I'd say that's the biggest worry for me. I'm not too worried about their goal scoring, more so just about their defense sometimes. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, well, look, the defense begins in goal. And you can argue they've got the best goalie in the league. So it just goes out from there. I would be very concerned at this point about the Lightning offense. It's just not happening. Now, they're going to maybe get a key guy back in the playoffs. Kucherov would be huge, but we don't know that right now. But I can tell you this. I put something up on, this is kind of funny. I put something up on Twitter last week where it was regarding the Golden Knights, and I said, that, to paraphrase what I said they're at worst the 3rd best team in the league right now. And the bad news for them is one of the best team in the league is in their division. And everybody assumed I meant Tampa as the 3rd team. I never even mentioned it. But it wasn't Tampa. It's Carolina. I think Carolina is the 3rd best team in the league right now. And we'll see how it plays out tonight. I think the Panthers are going to, the Hurricanes are going to come out of that division. They will be one of the final 4.
Yeah. Dave, I hope you're right, because not only in our preseason show did I pick, and I have a futures bet on Carolina to win the division, but I also have them to win the cup at a juicy 16-1 at the time. So I'm kind of hoping that happens. And to the point of Vasilevsky, real quick, it was actually Joe Ranieri on the Saturday show on SiriusXM who pointed me to the fact that I wasn't aware of how good Vasilevsky's been at home. At the time, he was 14-0. His stats right now, having lost that last game to Florida, he's 14-1 at home, 1.67 goals against average, 0.941 save percentage. Those are absolutely phenomenal numbers for this goalie. It's one of those ones where if Tampa scores 3, they should get the win with Vasilevsky in goal.
I suppose. Although I will say this, and I've got Vasilevsky as my best goaltender in the league. Mrazek isn't far from it. He has become one of the best goalies in the league. He is looking like an elite goaltender. And the main thing for Carolina is, can he stay healthy? Because that's always seems to be a concern with him. But if he can stay healthy in the playoffs, he can backstop them a long way.
That's all about the health right now with this team, and with Tampa Bay Lightning as well. It looks like they're going to try and figure out a way to weasel in to get Kucherov back in the lineup while Stammer's out. They got that cap space. We'll talk about these two teams a lot more in the future, but our marquee matchup here, Carm, this is the marquee matchup that I chose, the Chicago Blackhawks and the Nashville Predators. Predators minus 140. Let's not forget, guys, they had that unbelievable run that they went on and kind of just woke everybody up and kind of put a little spotlight on them, whereas the Blackhawks kind of cooled down a little bit here. One angle, guys, I want to touch on that I've been touching on probably for the past 2 weeks now, and Carm, you've been aware of it. It's been really working for me. Since February 20th, teams on the third game of their road trip, we have seen 38 unders and 26 overs. That number has been very continuous. It has been constant, and I've been cashing tickets. For some reason, I can't always explain these situations, guys, but it's just working. These numbers are very consistent. The third game of the road trip here, it works out, and that's actually for the Nashville Predators. It works out in this situation for them. So I believe we'll see them buckle down, play good defensive hockey. It's the exact same reason why I said with Carolina and Tampa Bay, I like the under. I think when two teams go together, it's a relatively big game. You're somewhat close in the standings. You could see a lower scoring game. But I don't like this minus 140, Dave. I don't want to lay that number with the Nashville Predators.
Well, I don't want to take it with the Blackhawks because they can't beat this team. They've met 5 times this year, and Nashville's walked off the ice with 2 points each and every time. And now you've got Nashville coming back home off 2 games where they got smashed, basically, at Carolina. They lose the 2 games by a combined 7-2. They got outshot 77-48 in the 2 games. It wasn't pretty. So I make this a really tough game to read because I don't know whether that really cools Nashville off because they've been playing some tremendous hockey, or whether they come out really motivated off 2 bad games and say, hey, we got to get it back on track. They should have confidence against the Blackhawks team that they're 5-0 against. I kind of think Chicago's done it with mirrors for the most part to stay in the race. I think Nashville's the better team, but no, I don't want to lay 140 either. This is an easy pass for me.
What about you, Carm? What's your thoughts here?
Cue the broken record that I'm going to be, I think, pretty much on the show today. I am looking look at the under here. Nashville, since the start of that run where they went like 13-3, and then you toss in the last couple of games against the Carolina Hurricanes, 18 games. They've gone under 14 of those 18 games, 14-4. And I mentioned it on the last show, last week. If something is working, kind of like those Islander unders, and look at the Islander under yesterday on the road. If something's working, just continue to take it until it ends. Nashville is playing well. They're playing well because they're getting good goaltending from Saros. And they're winning these 3-2 games. They're winning these 3-1 games, 3-0 games, 3-0 games. Just continue to take the under. 5-0 Nashville at home. Overall against Chicago this season. 3-0 at home. This is a true 2-point or 4-point game, Andrew. And I talked about it with the Montreal Calgary game. When you get 2 teams battling for that last spot and it's a 4-point game, it's usually not one of those running gun high scoring games. They're tighter checking games. We saw it in the Winnipeg and Edmonton game the other night. I sound like a broken record. Just take the under here.
I want to make a correction here, guys, because I'd rather not, end the show and feel like I said the wrong thing there. That stat that I listed was actually from the wrong game. I got my notes mixed up. That was for the Blue Jackets and Panthers game. So that's just a third game of the road trip for them. It's 38 unders and 26 over. So my mistake on that. But to your point there, Carm, I agree with you. I think that things have changed a little bit. Probably about 15 years ago, 10 years ago, we used to see big games led to unders. Then it changed to big games leading to overs. But I think this season, big games have definitely looked like they're leaning more towards unders. And I think the big reason is because teams are getting leads and protecting them. They're getting up 3-1 and sitting on that lead and protecting their own end of the ice now and not trying to just continuously raise that score. So I'm kind of sharing the exact same thing as Carm. And Carm, don't feel embarrassed or mad that you keep bringing it up, sound like a broken record, man. If it works, it works, man.
Yeah, no, listen, if you just grab some stats, if you just keyed in on even a few trends, if you want to call them, they say the trend is your friend, and you just follow them along until you saw they no longer became profitable, or you had a 3 or 4 game spurt where it just didn't hit. But the Islander unders on the road have been money all year. There's probably been 5 or 6 losses of the 21 or 22 games that they've played. If you look at the Islander overs at home, it's the same thing. You look at this Nashville. Look at the team's runs and look at the scores. It's probably the most minimal work you're going to have to do if you're looking for a trend that seems to be working. Unfortunately, it's the way it is. But unders are hitting. It's just what it is. You can look at the previous day's scores and look at, and you see 8 games and 6 of them went under. And it's like, as you said, the league has changed. It's not the running gun from earlier in the season. We are in playoff hockey now for the most part. We're in playoff hockey now because a lot of these teams are battling for spots within their division for those final spots. You look at a lot of those 3rd and 4th place spots, and they haven't been settled. Or sorry, the 4th and 5th place spots teams hasn't been settled yet. So we're going to see a lot of these games staying under the total. I just don't see it. Maybe in the last week of the season after everything is settled, or where teams are just playing out the string. But for now, I think you got to be looking to unders. And books are adjusting. We don't see those 6.5s anymore. We'll see 6 with some high juice, maybe 120, 130. But for the most part, we're seeing 6s that are shaded to the under and 5.5s.
Absolutely. 6.5s are pretty much very rare right now in this moment. We're always talking about home and away splits, how certain teams do at home, how certain teams do on the road. Let's get into our line change game of the day here. The Minnesota Wild taking on the Arizona Coyotes. The Coyotes, a team that's pretty good at home. They protect their own home ice. They do pretty well at home. They're plus 130 dogs. Wild move to minus 150. The only problem here, guys, is the fact that Minnesota 8-1 their last 9 meetings against Arizona when they're on the road. So I feel like the Wild right now, they've won 3 straight. They're going to want to try and get on a little run here. I like the Wild side in this one. We saw the Coyotes beat the St. Louis Blues, and I like to look at spots like that. I think some people say jump on a team, right when they get that first win. You don't want to fade them. Maybe they're going to get hot and heat up. But I feel like with a Coyotes team like that, they're going to get their belly full. They're going to get satisfied with a win like that. Whereas I think the Wild, they've won 3 straight, maybe not in the way they'd want to win them. Maybe a little bit closer than they would have liked. Maybe some turnovers in their own end they want to correct. So I think this price, Dave, here is fair in favor of the Wild. I think the movement is fair. And I think the fact that they've been proven that they can go on the road and get things done against Arizona makes me confident in backing them here tonight.
I'm not sure I agree with that. Look, Minnesota's better than Arizona. That's the easy part. But I don't like the spot for them. They're going to finish 3rd in the division. That's pretty much locked up at this point. They're 7 points behind both, excuse me, 7 behind the Golden Knights and the Avalanche. And they're a dozen points up on Arizona. So that's a bigger game for Arizona. The Coyotes are 1 point up on the Blues right now. The Sharks are sort of still in it, although I don't really think they are. This is a big game for all these. The Coyotes are now in situations where these are really big games. Now, the downside of that is they're off a really big win. against St. Louis, and they could be in a flat spot here. But to me, it's flat spot versus potential flat spot. I don't know what to do with a game like that. So I hate to say nothing on a game, but sometimes that's the best route. And look, I mentioned my own selections. I mean, I've had very low volume lately, which is typical for me when we get into the playoff stretch, because you're paying the piper anytime you want to play a contending team, basically. And taking non-contending teams is just not going to build your bankroll, because the bad teams are mentally, they're kind of mailing it in at this point. So what that means for me is less volume, and this is a game where you've got two contenders, actually, but it's easy for me to throw out the game because I can't get a read on either of these teams in this situation. And I don't gamble for amusement. Never have and never will. If I want to do that, I'll go get a $20 bill and stick it in a machine at the Orleans or something like that, and see if I get lucky. And I don't do that. So this, I hate to give you nothing, but that's what I got on this game, is nothing.
Well, you didn't give us nothing, Dave, because you described what this game presents, and I completely understand what you're saying there.
And I described I described why I think passing is the best move on this game.
So for the reason that you said it's flat spot against flat spot, in my head, that's why I like the Wild here, because I'll take them in a flat spot over the Arizona Coyotes any day of the week. And I understand the fact that they're locked in more. I can look regulation. I can look, something like that. I like the spot for them because, I think it's time to not just the obvious play and the motivated play here is the Coyotes, right? This game means more. This team will show up, right? It's more so the Coyotes. No. But I don't agree with that.
And I kind of don't either, because it's the standings say it's more important to them. But they're off a huge win where they trailed 2-0 and came back and won the game. And that's, I don't know. That's not an appealing spot to me.
Dave, you did give us something. I know now when I come to Vegas, if I can't find you, I can find you at the Orleans playing no,
actually
video poker or something like that for $20 or whatever. But
I haven't been in a casino in
I'm kidding.
over a year. So.
No, I get it. I'm kidding. But listen, as far as Andrew, as far as this game goes, or Dave, both you guys, as far as this game goes, the way I look at it, that was a big win for Arizona because I didn't think they had it in them off a 9-game road trip that ended pretty much in a disaster, losing 5 straight games where they weren't competitive in any of them, even in a 1-0 loss to the Vegas Golden Knights. They weren't competitive, and then they come home and have to play a St. Louis team who are battling for that final playoff spot. These are teams that, and St. Louis got off to a 2-0 lead. Arizona could have packed it in. The one thing that leads me to want to stay off this game, as far as laying the price on Minnesota and maybe looking to the under, is a couple things. Is Minnesota got their mojo back, but they beat a San Jose Sharks team who's completely toothless right now. They couldn't beat Anaheim. They went in there. They looked absolutely dead. This is a Sharks team that were pushing for that playoff spot are dead now. They're just not playing well, and this race likely comes down to Arizona and St. Louis. The good thing for Arizona, they've got their goalies back. While he didn't look sharp at all, he looked shaky in that 3-2 win over St. Louis. Having Darcy Comfort back helps this team. Having Ranta back there, it's no longer Aiden Hill and the other guy that I can't even remember what his name was there, but they've got their regular 2 goalies back that they can alternate. And as Comfort gets his legs back under him and time back in that net, it makes this team that much better defensively. So with that said, broken record, I'm going under 5.5 here. I think it's another tight game as well too. Hate to say it, but I think Zona plays well tonight. Even off that big win, they play well. Is it well enough to win the game? Not sure, but I think it keeps us under the total here tonight.
It's a fair point. The goaltending is back, but all stats and trends do point towards the over. But I think if Arizona wants to be successful against this team, and you think they could be, it's going to be in lower scoring fashion. Our dumper chase game here, guys. Here's Here's a big favorite here. The Panthers against the Blue Jackets. Panthers minus 225. Blue Jackets plus 185. And Dave, this is kind of an example of what you were talking about. I mean, trying to figure out, who's going to show up here and who cares about this game. I went to Dave first last time, so Carmine, I'll go to you here. We've obviously seen this Blue Jackets team drop consecutive games all throughout the season. And when they're dropping those games, they're not just dropping them by 1 or 2 goals. They're dropping it by a huge margin a lot of the times. What are your thoughts here as you enter this game?
Yeah, it's a dump on Columbus. Now, I know I set this game up as one of the games that we're going to preview, and we're like, come on, Bianco, why would you choose a game where one team is like minus 225? Well, we need a dump and chase kind of game. Florida's 5-1 versus Columbus this season, 5 straight wins at home. And listen, if you can make a case out there, honestly, if you can make a case for the Columbus Blue Jackets tonight, who have lost 8 of their past 10 and 12 of the past 15, well, then God bless you, man, because I can't make a case for taking Columbus at all in this game. They're 10 points off with 10 games left. The team is effectively dead, if not dead, officially. But the only thing that stands left to be determined is this Tortorella's final season behind the bench for this Blue Jackets team. I don't think they're playing for him anymore. I think they've given up on him. The way he treated Laine, I think it's time to get some new blood in there and start building this team from the bottom up again and build against the few core players that you have on the team. So with that said, I'm going, while puck lines aren't a favorite of my fellow man here, Dave Cokin, I am taking Florida on the puck line here, minus 1.5, plus 105.
Grabbing the puck line here, and yeah, I mean, this team has packed it in. It seems like they're not in touch with their coach. The star players have not been their star players, if you want to even call them that. How do you bet this game, Dave? Can you bet this game?
Yeah, this would be a situation where if you have 2 big favorites, and Florida's one of them, you find a companion piece and bet a 2-team parlay. The only parlays I ever recommend are 2-team big favorite parlays. You reduce your liability, and you get a decent return. There's some misconception out there. Dave hates parlays, and here he is giving them out, because I've given out 8 parlays in the NHL this year, and they're 6-2. I don't like these nonsense parlays. They're 5-16. It's stupid. Okay, you're going to lose money on those, unless you hit the lottery. But 2-team parlays with big favorites, particularly if you want to reduce your risk, are not a terrible idea. So I could use Florida in that instance. I didn't tonight, but could make a case for that. I don't want any part of Columbus.
I've been doing the exact same thing, Dave. And one thing I've also been doing as well that I'm not sure if you guys would agree with, but it's worked out for me as well. If you have the ability to do this, I've actually been parlaying the opposition team total under. So just under team total 2.5 for this Blue Jackets team, and finding another team that I think is going to get mauled and taking their team total under 2.5, completely taking out the other team out of the picture.
Yeah, and Andrew, to your point of, to Dave's point of, but your point of another team that probably could get mauled. I don't think they're going to get completely mauled tonight, but you look at, because we're not discussing the game, but putting them in a parlay with Florida is probably a team like Calgary, who are home, should beat the Ottawa Senators. And if you took those 2 teams in a straight 2-team parlay, you're getting about plus 115 on your money. So as Dave says, you mitigate the amount of juice that you're laying, and you're actually getting plus money on two big favorites that should win.
And once again, guys, that game does qualify in that 3rd game of the road trip for the Blackhawks for the under. I've been tweeting it out. People have been asking me each day to check my numbers and check my system here. For that 3rd game of the road trip for the Blackhawks, past month and a half or so, we've seen a huge edge towards the under on those 3rd games of the road trip. Our barn burner segment here, guys, the Montreal Canadiens and the Edmonton Oilers. Total sits at 5.5 right now. Oilers haven't played too many games recently. They're set to play the Canucks, so they were kind of slowed down with their schedule. The Montreal Canadiens, let's put it this way, guys. I'm a frustrated fan right now. I'll put it lightly. I'm frustrated right now. They made a couple moves at the deadline, but it was 2 puck-moving defensemen. Hopefully they can do something for us. But our top 6 can't produce, and it probably has something to do with having Philip Deneau as our number 1 center. But guys, it's our barn burner segment. Usually we look at this from a total standpoint here, and I ask myself, can I take an over in a game that involves the Montreal Canadiens? And Carm, I feel like we've touched on unders all day long on this show so far. But if you look at when they've played the Edmonton Oilers, there actually have been some higher scoring games between the two. And I think that obviously we know the talent on the Oilers side. And I think there's a game that, the expected goal stats say the Habs should have more goals their past couple games. And that's why I don't like these advanced stats and advanced metrics. And a lot of the numbers guys, they fall in love with certain teams that aren't winning. So I ask you here with the 5.5, with this Canadiens team struggling to score, the Oilers team hungry to get back into playing full-time hockey here, where do we go with this 5.5?
Yeah, so there are a couple 6s out there. So some of the numbers I was going to give you, and I'll just revamp them as we go because Pinnacle, I know, had a 6 up there. The under, Montreal 4-1 in this series so far. The under is 4-0-1 in those. And then you got, the Oilers with 7 straight wins. Now you look at their last 10 games that these teams have played so far this season. 7-1-2 to the under for the Oilers, their last 10 games. That's to the number of 6. So you can make it 7-3 to the number of 5.5. You look at the Canadiens, the exact same number, 7-1-2. So 7-3 to the under of 5.5. If you find a 6, and that becomes 7-1-2 with a couple pushes in there. Another one, Andrew, it's which Montreal team shows up tonight? The one that beat Calgary 2-1, or the one that lost, next game out to the Sens 4-0? Sorry, I apologize. I was chirping you on Twitter about that, giving you a hard time about that Montreal one. But I don't know. I don't know what this Montreal team is. Maybe you can update us. Is Gallagher even back? I think they need to get him back into the lineup as well too. I don't know which one shows up, but the Oilers have 7 straight wins at home, and that's over teams like the Flames, Winnipeg, 3 easy ones against the Ottawa Senators, but they did what they're supposed to do against a team like the Senators this year, and they swept them in the season series. For me, I'd likely take Montreal. Sorry, not Montreal. I'd like to take Edmonton here, but I would lean to the under.
Yeah, it's funny. Well, that the trend I've been working on here and using with the 3rd game of the road trip, Carm, that worked with Calgary last week against Montreal in that low-scoring game, the one that the Canadiens won 2-1. But, Dave, it just seems like with this Canadiens team right now, and obviously the Oilers trending towards the under as well, any game they're involved in, very, very big lack of scoring and scoring opportunities. And even if there's bunches of penalties, they're not capitalizing. And you said it last week, Gallagher being out has been huge for them, whether he scores or not.
Yeah, I don't like the form of either of these two teams right now. So it's 2 negative teams for me. Montreal's not playing well. Edmonton's not playing well. So to me, it's strictly value. To me, if you can get more than a dime with the Canadiens and you want to bet this game, that's the way I would go. I would take go strictly for the value and take Montreal.
Well, they are in a bounce-back situation, that is sure, certainly. Guys, let's get into a little promo here. It's $9 Monday at both WagerTalk.com and SportsMemo.com. It's a big day. You can get any package at any play, 3%, 4%, 5%, every single sport. It could be a play that's going on in the weekend. It could be a play for tonight, just for $9 only on Mondays, guys. And Dave, let's go to you. What do you have up for $9 today?
One baseball play. My baseball is low volume. I've only played, I think, 27 games so far. 18-6. There were a few pushes. And the results have been spectacular. So I've got one baseball play up. If you want to do something longer term, this offer is good until the end of this week. It's a major commitment, but you save a lot of money. It's $999. You get everything I've got through December 31st. So that would include whatever I've got left in the NHL, Major League Baseball the whole season, and of course football, including the college football where I'm number 1 at WagerTalk all time. And it should be pointed out Since January 1st, 2018, which is 3 years and 4 months, I'm number one overall profits at WagerTalk. It's, I think, 232 net units. That's a lot. So this works out to, I don't know, about $4 a day, maybe less than that, maybe $3 a day, something like that. And you get everything I've got through the end of the year. So, if you want to make a commitment to me, I'll certainly make a commitment to you, and the results speak for themselves. So that's what I've got up. And hopefully you will just keep it rolling. Am I supposed to give my best bet here?
Yeah, but Dave, I just want to say I'm really happy you said that about the $4 a day, because it's important people realize that. It's important that you mentioned that, because you mentioned that big price, and it might sound intimidating to some people, but if you're going to WagerTalk or Sports Memo every day and looking to buy plays, you can buy an extended package. You're making a one-time commitment to Dave, and then long-term you're paying such a small amount each and every day, and Dave has had that proven success over the past several years. So. First of all, congratulations, Dave. I know you don't really need that from me, but congratulations, man.
The one other thing I'll throw in is it takes the guesswork out every day. It's like, oh, geez, who should I follow today? Who should I buy a pick with? This guy? You just go with one or two guys, and that's it. Anyway, best bet, Calgary. I know it's $2. It's actually a little more than that, $2.10, but they're actually playing really good hockey right now. I mean, they've been dominating their opposition lately, and they're right back in this thing. Now, the one caveat is they've got 3 straight games coming up with Montreal, which are enormous games for that 4th playoff spot. But I don't think they're going to look past Ottawa, because they've lost the last 3 meetings with the Senators. So I think you go with the positive momentum here. They've won 3 of their last 4, could have been 4 in a row. The Flames or the Senators. They won 4-0 against Montreal on 15 shots on goal. Price wasn't very good. Calgary's in much better form, and they should win this game. So even at a steep price, I think the Flames are worth betting.
And for me, I'm going to ride that angle I said with the unders, Blue Jackets and the Panthers. It's just been a proven angle over the past month and a half. Very strong edge here towards the under. And I think it was 36 unders and something like 24 overs on that scale over that month and a half time frame. And I think that this situation sets up where Florida will play good defensive hockey, and Blue Jackets right now, we're not getting much from them at all. For me in the NHL, it's an 8-2 run. MLB starting to heat up as well. I have one best bet up in MLB and one best bet in the NHL. Carm, we'll go to you, man. Sorry for the wait.
Oh, I'm still here? Okay, yeah. All good. Listen, I know we're running short on time, so I'll make my best bet really quick on this one. One play up in afternoon soccer, 2 plays up tonight in NHL. May add a third one on that. As far as my best bet goes, and April has been a very good NHL run for me, 30-18, plus 33 units on, or percent units, whichever you want to use on the month. I'm going to go right back to that Florida-Columbus game and the puck line that I talked about. This Columbus team seems like they've packed it in. Normally, we see a team that once they've fallen off that final playoff spot and they don't look like they're going to make it, they start to play the spoilers role. And they don't even look like a team that wants to play the spoilers role. They just look like the players on this team are ready to head down to Florida, hit the golf course, and enjoy the offseason. That's what it seems like. They have 10 games left. I think they're going to pack it in, and they're going to lose, of their 10 games left, they're probably going to lose 8 of them. So with that said, puck line for me, you're getting some plus money if you can still grab it. Florida -1.5 plus 105, my show best bet.
Florida -1.5, Carmine's best bet. Dave's on the Flames, and I am on the Jackets, Panthers under 2.5. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Every single play is just $9 today at both websites. Best of luck, guys, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Each and every Monday is $9 Monday at WagerTalk.com. All daily picks packages are priced at only $9, including $40 5% best bets. As an added bonus, all new users will receive $25 in WagerBucks credited to their accounts, available for immediate use after their initial $9 Monday purchase. So make sure to take advantage of $9 Mondays at WagerTalk.com.